What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Pitching Ninja's Filthiest Pitches of the Day. I am Pitching Ninja, and I'm here with our very own all-star, Will Leahey.
That's right, Ninja. MLB dropped the All-Star selections for this coming game, and we're going to be there next week bringing you some content. I'm psyched about it. I think it's our fourth year going in a row. And I'm also psyched because a couple of my favorite guys made the squads, Ninja. We got the Incredible Houck. I mean, great to see him. Really, honestly, great to see him finally put it together. He's been a Pitching Ninja favorite for a couple of years, but he never really put up the numbers per se. He was just more of a man of filth. And it's awesome that he's having such a spectacular season and rewarded with this All-Star game. Also, Chris Sale, first time making it in 5 years. Love to see it. Hoping we can meet these two gents. Ninja, anyone you were particularly excited to see make the team?
Excited to see. I think they did a really good job of selecting the team. I mean, I definitely want to run into Paul Skeens there. It'll be cool to meet up.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about Skeens. We had a little debate, and
there.
Listen, he made it, and well-deserved.
I think we were one of the first people to at least debate that, because I thought Paul Skeens made his case with his fourth start. Tarik Skubal, fantastic dude. I mean, it got me thinking, I'm looking at the all-star pitchers, and they did a pretty good job of picking them. We were talking about Tyler Anderson, was it yesterday, about how surprising his stats were. I saw he made it. There's some guys that I thought maybe should have.
Yeah, any notable snubs, Ninja? Anyone you were bummed that didn't make it?
Yeah, I mean, I think to me, Ronel Blanco seems like an all-star. He threw a no-hitter, and he's been really good all year. Trevor Megill, I think, should be there. Clay Holmes on the list is interesting because I don't know that he's having a better year than Andres Munoz or Craig Kimbrell, somebody like that. So on the margins, definitely I would have done something different. I would say, I'm looking at Matt Strom and Jeff Hoffman on the list. And they've been really good. I'm not arguing, but both, I don't know. You might want to swap.
I was a little
somebody
surprised.
else
The Phillies also with 7 guys representing the most.
Yeah, in fairness, those guys are good though. I wouldn't say that you should kick them off because they don't deserve it. They could, but you could vary it up. I mean,
my 2 notable ones I saw on the other side of the ball here. Christian Walker, I think, got a legitimate snub. Hopefully, we're still at that time where people can still drop out. So I'm assuming he'll be the first one picked. Pete Alonso made over him. I love the polar bear, but Christian Walker is just clearly having a superior season. And then Francisco Lindor has not made an all-star team as a Met, and I think he gets overlooked. The Mets have had a couple rough goes here, and he can sometimes be a little bit of a scapegoat here. But yeah. I think hopefully these guys will be the first two on if we have some dropouts.
Yeah, and as far as pitchers, I do think we've been talking about this, but Jake Irvin's had a great year. I'm sure he was considered. If a spot opens up, I would bet he gets it. And Hunter Green as well has been really good. His ERA is a little higher than, I can't say he was totally snubbed, but if a spot opens up, I'd expect these guys to get some consideration. Now for our whip around the league, I'm going to start out with Sean Manaea, who had 6 Ks and 6 scoreless innings. The Mets beat the Pirates 3-2. He had these sweepers and 2-seamer for a sword. And he had this brain fart play where kind of missed first base covering it. We do this in spring training with our PFPs. This is why they're so important. Missed first base. Brian Hayes rounded the bag. It's tried to sneak in there and did, because Manaea was just distracted by his own failure to touch the base. Almost like the opposite of the David Cone situation, where David Cone absolutely did touch first base, started arguing about it, and 2 runs scored while he was arguing. And he's kind of talking about scapegoats. He's been a scapegoat, because if we had replay, this would never have happened. Manaea faced Luis Ortiz, who actually shoved yesterday. He had 5 Ks and 6 scoreless innings. He had these 98-mile-an-hour heaters, and this slider for a sword looked really, really good. Reynaldo Lopez continues to be brilliant. Raylo had 6 Ks and 6 scoreless innings. His ERA right now is 1.71, and he keeps teetering on the line of being a qualified starter or not a qualified starter. As you may know, in order to be a qualified starter that is qualified for the ERA title, you have to have at least 1 inning per game your team plays, and he's teetering on the border.
Qualified or not, he is an all-star.
He is an all-star and deserves to be an all-star. He had these fastballs and sliders, and opponents are only hitting 163 against a slider this year with a 44% whiff rate. I also thought he had some really nice curveballs here as the Braves shut out the Phillies 6-0. Kyle Gibson had 8 Ks in 5 innings, giving up 3 runs. He had these nasty sweepers, these curveballs and changeup as the Cards glided past the Nats 8-3. He faced DJ Hurst, who had 4 Ks in 4 and a third innings, giving up 4 earned runs. He had this sword on a fastball, as well as this wicked back foot slider and this changeup. Edward Cabrera had 4 Ks in 3 and 2/3 innings, giving up 2 runs as the Marlins swam past the White Sox 7-4. Cabrera had these curveballs and, of course, his turbo changeups. Welcome back, Edward Cabrera. I missed you. He faced Jonathan Cannon, and good old Johnny Cannon had 3 Ks in 6 innings, giving up 1 run. He had this elevated cutter and sweeper. Spencer Arrighetti, the spaghetti pirate? I don't know. Arrighetti had 6 Ks in 5 innings, giving up 2 runs, and had these curveballs. He faced Simeon Woods Richardson, who had 4 Ks in 6 innings, giving up 2 runs, had this curveballs. The Twins down the Astros 3-2. Nathan Eovaldi had a very workmanlike effort with 5 Ks in 7 innings, giving up 2 runs. He had these cutters, splitters, and Expelliarmus curveball as the Rangers ambushed the Rays 13-2.
Chill, nasty Nate.
The Orioles flew past the A's 6-3. Grayson Rodriguez had 8 Ks in 6 innings, giving up 3 runs. He had these sliders and changeups. He faced Mitch Spence, who had 5 Ks in 6 innings, giving up 4 earned runs, and had these dirty curveballs. Ryan Nelson was solid yesterday with 5 Ks in 6 and 2/3 innings, giving up only 1 run as the D-backs easily handled the Padres 9-1. A good overall outing and had this elevated cutter. And he faced Dylan Cease, who had 8 Ks in 7 innings, giving up 3 runs. And Cease gets more highlights here. This isn't fair. But Cease had these knuckle curves, these sliders, picked up a White Castle special. I guess it is fair because Cease is a filth merchant. Justin Robleski made his major league debut, and it's a big deal because he's another one of these pitchers that we faced here in Georgia in the travel ball circuit. Really good pitcher. He had 4 Ks in 5 innings, giving up 4 runs, and looked solid. He had these fastballs and sliders, and he faced Dallas Keuchel, who had no Ks and 5 walks in 4 and a third innings. 5 walks for Dallas Keuchel? Come on, surely he got shelled here, right? But no, he gave up no runs. The Brewers beat the Dodgers 9-2, so he is the ultimate highlight because he won. Brady Singer had 7 Ks in 7 innings, giving up 1 run. He dominated this game with his sliders. He had 12 swings and misses on 27 sliders, and 12 of his 14 swings and misses for the game were on his slider, as the Royals pounded the Rockies 10-1. Hayden Wesneski had 2 Ks in 6 and a third scoreless innings, giving up only 1 hit, so solid outing for him. He had this sweeper as the Cubs shut out the Angels 5-0. He faced Jose Soriano at 3 Ks in 5 innings, giving up 3 runs, and had this slider for a sword. Hayden Birdsong had 5 Ks in 4 and 2/3 innings, giving up 2 runs. He had this changeup and curveballs. He faced Cookie Carrasco at 4 Ks in 5 innings, giving up 3 runs, and had these changeups as the Guardians ended up beating the Giants 5-4. And probably the filthiest pitching matchup of the day, Jose Berrios had 10 strikeouts in 6 innings, giving up 4 runs. He hit a career high on this fastball at 98 miles an hour and had these changeups and slurves. And here's an overlay of his fastball and slurve, and he is just filthy. He had 10 Ks because of his filthy stuff, as well as the Mariners' bats because they K against everybody. Berrios faced the commander, George Kirby, who had 8 Ks in 6 innings, giving up 3 runs and an uncharacteristic 1 walk. He had these sliders, picked up a sword, and some vicious splitters. And here's an overlay of his fastball and splitter. And you can see why that splitter is so good. Cutter Crawford had 4 Ks in 7 scoreless innings. The Red Sox blanked the Yankees 3-0. I know one dude who's very excited about that.
That's right.
Cutter had these cutters, splitters, sweepers, and picked up a sword. And he faced Luis Gil, who had an outstanding outing yesterday. Gil had 9 Ks in 6 and 2/3 innings, giving up 1 run, and his fastball was back. Like, this is what Luis Gil is when he's at his best. He also had these wicked sliders, and here's a home plate view of his slider that shows why that slider is so tough. And I thought it was probably his best slider all year. Like, he was really good, and also had his turbo changeups. And here's an overlay of his changeup and slider. Good luck when Gil's on.
Listen, Gil was great.
fantastic.
But he wasn't good enough to get it by the king of New York for Rafael Devers, who essentially ended Heel's outing and won the game with this dong. But that wasn't even the dong of the day, because the dong of the day goes to Rafi's second homer of the day, putting a nail in the coffin of this series. But Ninja, I know you'll appreciate the location of this pitch that Rafi somehow pulls to right center. Just an impressive display of hitting by Rafi with a spectacular series, and of course another All-Star game for Rafi. But way to just punish the Yanks in the Bronx and take the series away from them.
Dude, I would roll my eyes if Rafael Devers wasn't one of my favorite hitters to watch. Looks like he's having a blast, and he's a stud. Like
little Poppy, man, he's the best.
Love this dude. Graham Ashcraft had 2 Ks in 4 2/3 innings, giving up 1 run, and this cutter and slider. And he faced Tarik Skubal, who had the pitching outing of the day yesterday. Just absolute dominance from Tarik Skubal, showing once and for all who the best pitcher in baseball is right now. He had 13 strikeouts in 7 innings, giving up 1 run on 3 hits and 0 walks. Dude just shoves. This was his career high in strikeouts. He had these upper 90s heaters, these wicked sliders, these changeups and K-scream. The Tigers mauled the Reds 5-1. I freaking love Tarik Skubal. Absolutely one of my favorite dudes to watch pitch. So happy to see him in the All-Star game, and I hope he starts the game because he deserves it. Now into my filthiest relievers. Brian Abreu had this slider. Yunier Cano had this slider and sinker. Prince Albert had these curveballs. And Tyler Phillips made his major league debut by striking out the first 4 hitters he faced with these curveballs and sweepers.
That's awesome.
My top 5 filthiest pitches of the day yesterday. At number 5, we have Nathan Eovaldi and his Expelliarmus curveball. Number 4, Jose Berrios and these slurves. And number 3, Jhoan Duran with this curveball that's just pure filth. And number 2, Trevor Megill. These 100-mile-an-hour fastballs and hammer knuckle curves. I would say he was slighted on the All-Star team. Like, again, this dude's been nothing but nails. And at number 1, Tarik Skubal, and you pick it, Will. I don't know. All of Tarik Skubal's filthy. Tip of the cap to the man. And now my pitching ninja moment of zen. Skubal had this K strut, and I thought he was going to do a little moonwalk. So I paired him up with Michael Jackson. Little help here. Skubal's the one in the Tigers uniform. My picks of the day today are a 4-leg same-game parlay plus. I'm going to start out with a same-game parlay of Mitch Keller for 5 Ks or more and Christian Scott for 4 Ks or more, and then take Andrew Abbott for 6 Ks or more and Chris Sale for 7 Ks or more. What would your picks of the day be?